What happened to Todd Gurley?
Todd Gurley's career is often referenced by its abrupt ending.
Well, the Rams tried to trade Todd Gurley, the former face of the franchise.
The Rams have released the former face of their franchise in Todd Gurley. Now he's off to Atlanta to become a Falcon.
You said there's no doubt, so you're done, right? You're not coming back.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
All right, 28 years old, Todd. It was a great career.
It's true his career ended quickly, but I contend his career should not be defined by how it ended. Instead, it should be defined by the heights reached during such a short span of time and how unlikely his stardom truly was. Todd Gurley was on pace for a Hall of Fame career prior to his injuries, but not everyone gets to live out a storybook ending, and the media tends to pick and choose how a player is remembered. Luckily these days, we can all create articles and videos to correct these narratives. In a few seasons, Gurley was able to showcase amazing ability and find financial success before his knees let him down.
We find out he has a degenerative knee, an arthritic knee, and it's the same knee that he tore the ACL in at University of Georgia. So therefore, this is a condition that is going to be monitored the rest of his career.
My aims in this video are to walk you through Todd Gurley's unlikely rise, reframe a successful NFL career, and make a case for Todd Gurley to be remembered properly as the dominant running back he was on the field, and possibly, just maybe, convince you that he is a Hall of Fame player.
What did you say?
Welcome back to Unlikely Success, where I focus on attributes of success through covering celebrities, athletes, and finding stories to learn from. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe and comment to support the channel. Now let's get into Todd Gurley's insane climb to the best running back in football and the quick exit that followed, which now taints how his career is viewed. Before we get into his professional accomplishments, we must first quickly look at Todd's time in college to understand exactly how his NFL career came about. Playing his college ball at the University of Georgia, Gurley would provide instant impact for the Bulldogs. By opening his freshman season with a kickoff return for a touchdown, he put the entire college football world on notice. With standout performances against Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Florida, Mississippi, Auburn, and Alabama, the entire SEC was now aware of who this freshman was. He became only the second true freshman in Georgia school history to rush for over 1,000 yards. It was a freshman season that would see him have 1,502 scrimmage yards, 17 touchdowns, including 9 games of over 100 yards, and he would earn first-team All-SEC honors. His ability to hurdle defenders, an ability largely due to his track talents, and a style that combined power with grace and agility, made him stand out in every highlight he was seen in. His sophomore campaign would be nearly as impressive as his freshman one, starting with 2 dominant games against Clemson and South Carolina. It was a season where he racked up 1,430 scrimmage yards and 16 touchdowns, but it would also see him sidelined with a high ankle injury. If this were a comic book, you could consider this his origin story of the injury-prone label that would follow him his entire career. Gurley's junior year would once again see an incredible start, as he would open the season with 198 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, and a kick return for a touchdown against Clemson. In 3 of his next 4 games, he would eclipse 100 yards and score 5 more touchdowns, until on October 9th,
University of Georgia star running back Todd Gurley has been suspended indefinitely while the school investigates an alleged violation of NCAA rules.
Ultimately, the suspension would be for 4 games due to an NCAA investigation determining he had received $3,000 or more for signed autographs and memorabilia. Upon his return to the field against Auburn on November 15th, Gurley would rush for 138 yards, but this unfortunately would end his season as he tore his ACL.
The injury comes at such an unfortunate time for Todd Gurley. An MRI confirmed he won't play the rest of the season with a torn ACL. He had just returned to the team after sitting out 4 games for profiting off his name by taking benefits for signing autographs.
After his junior season, Todd Gurley would enter the 2015 NFL Draft. Due to his ACL injury, he was only able to participate in 1 drill at the combine, the bench press, where he would do 17 reps, and many teams would be impressed by his willingness to participate. But there were still large gaps in his draft position, according to many experts, and there were still major concerns about his injury history. Fortunately, my beloved Rams would select Todd Gurley 10th overall in the 2015 draft.
With the 10th pick in the 2015 NFL Draft, the St. Louis Rams select Todd Gurley, running back, Georgia.
The then St. Louis Rams were building a strong young core, but they were also coached by Jeff Fisher, so they finished 7-9 in 2015. For his part, Todd had 1,106 rushing yards, 188 receiving yards, and 10 touchdowns. He won the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he only missed 2 games after a 10-month ACL recovery. He would again draw comparisons to other great NFL running backs. This time, it was Adrian Peterson. When Peterson himself was asked about Gurley, he would say this.
Reminds me, a lot of myself. He's a strong guy. He runs fast, physical, great feet. He has great vision, nice balance, and just his determination that he runs with. You don't see a lot of running backs that run that way.
Did Todd Gurley remind you of Adrian Peterson? Or was there another great running back that he reminded you of? For me, it was usually Marshawn Lynch. In 2016, frustration would boil over as Jeff Fisher was fired for performance after 3 blowout losses and a 4-9 record. Confusingly, this firing happened after the Rams had extended Jeff Fisher's contract to run through their relocation to LA and the new stadium that was being built. It was a disappointing sophomore campaign in the NFL, finishing with a 4-12 record, 885 rushing yards, 327 receiving yards, and 6 touchdowns. It was clearly not the way that Todd Gurley had seen his second season in the NFL playing out. Luckily for him, the Rams would make an excellent choice as their next head coach, Sean McVay. McVay was the youngest NFL coach ever, at 30 years old, and he brought an immediate upgrade to the Rams offense. McVay would bring in his version of the zone running offense, an offense where offensive linemen step in unison to create running lanes for backs, who then choose the lane and get upfield quickly. The zone running scheme has long been known to be favorable to running backs, gaining NFL popularity with Mike Shanahan's Super Bowl wins with the Denver Broncos. McVay's system varied in that he used the screen game as an added element to get the ball into his running back's hands. The team now had a flashy young coach, new home in LA, and a young roster full of talent waiting to break out. The biggest star amongst that talented team was their 23-year-old running back. In 2017, Todd Gurley was unquestionably the best running back in football. The team flourished under their new coach, becoming the #1 offense in the NFL. In 12 of the 15 games that Gurley played in, he would surpass 100 scrimmage yards, including 2 games where he went over 200, against the Cowboys and the Titans respectively. It was a Rams offense that was humming, going from the worst offense in 2016 to the best offense in 2017. They were scoring 19 more points per game than the prior year. They were led by their star running back, who finished second in the MVP voting and won Offensive Player of the Year. He rushed for 1,305 yards and 13 touchdowns, while adding 788 yards receiving and 6 more touchdowns. 2017 was a breakout year for the Rams and Gurley.
Todd Gurley is 38% of their offense. That's the highest total since Adrian Peterson in 2012. What did Adrian Peterson do in 2012, Joey?
He won the MVP.
His explosive playing style fit perfectly with the recently relocated Rams, who had been looking to make a splashy return to LA. Gurley was now a solidified star, and as a reward for his stardom, the Rams signed him to a lucrative 4-year, $57.5 million extension, with $45 million in guarantees.
Todd Gurley is a difference maker, and so I think he deserves to get paid.
More to come on this later. 2018 would only add to TG3's statistical dominance, as he would rush for 1,251 yards and 17 touchdowns, while adding 580 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. But it would raise the most impactful question of his professional career.
What is going on with that knee of Todd Gurley's?
You see, he had sat the last 2 regular season games with knee inflammation, and concerns were growing over the star tailback's health. In the divisional round of the playoffs, Gurley would return in a 115-yard, 1-touchdown performance that eased doubts about his health temporarily. These doubts would almost immediately return, as he only rushed for 4 times in the NFC Championship game against the Saints, a game best known for Saints fans who constantly complain over the non-call. The Super Bowl media coverage would focus heavily on the status of Todd Gurley's knee.
Is he healthy?
Yeah, all the way.
He's all the way healthy.
Yeah. What makes you think he's not healthy?
There's just reports that say that his knee is constantly swollen. Like, that's what the reports say. I don't know. I haven't seen his knee up close.
His knee is definitely not swollen.
Okay.
I remember the lead up to this game, and it had been obvious to most of us Rams fans for about 2 months of the season that Gurley was having some type of trouble with an injury, which we now know was his knee. He would carry the ball 10 times for 35 yards in Super Bowl 53, and the Rams would lose to America's favorite football villains, 13-3.
There was no question that you, among many, were wondering about one thing that was not going on for the Rams, one guy who spent, once again, so much of the night on the sideline. What was your perspective on the situation last night with Todd Gurley?
What is going on?
Heading into 2019, there were now very loud concerns surrounding TG3's health.
Can you tell me what the hell happened with Todd Gurley's knee last year?
Sure.
And what it bodes for 2019 Andrew Siciliano?
Absolutely. I can tell you what I know, and I don't think people are lying to me. There is no super secret story here. They're not hiding anything from the world.
It was a primary focus for the team and anyone interested in football. 2019 was a lackluster year, following what 2017 and 2018 had been. Riddled with concerns over load management, Gurley would post a career low in rushing, while still managing 14 touchdowns. The LA cool vibe was wearing off as the Rams missed the playoffs and rumors were growing that the Rams wanted to offload their talented running back. Eventually, the Rams would release Gurley. 2 years after he had signed his massive deal, it was a cost-cutting measure, but it felt clearly like the end of a Rams era.
They now have officially released Todd Gurley, no longer a member of the Los Angeles Rams. And of course, the same Todd Gurley they took in the first round, had so much success with early on. At one point, it looked like an MVP with the team, was basically the engine for their offense, and then a troubling knee injury that simply would not go away, a big-time storyline leading up to the Super Bowl a couple years back, and something that clearly limited him last year in the minds of those with the Rams. They have now informed him that he is released.
Todd Gurley is the newest member of the Atlanta Falcons after being let go by the Los Angeles Rams.
The Atlanta Falcons at the time felt like a good fit for Gurley, as they had recently released Devontae Freeman, but it only highlighted the limitations of Gurley at this point. He was able to rush for 678 yards and 9 touchdowns, adding 164 receiving yards, but both yardage totals were career lows. He also matched his career low in yards per touch and became a meme when he could not stop himself from scoring a touchdown. Following the season, Gurley was not highly sought after by other NFL teams. He would spend 2021 as a free agent and opt to retire in 2022. Todd Gurley should be seen as a star that burned too bright and through no fault of his own declined faster than he expected. His career should be remembered for its peak and the dominance displayed, not the quick ending. Over a 4-year span, Gurley won Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, and was a 3-time All-Pro. For 2 of those years, his head coach was Jeff Fisher. How much can one man overcome? If you consider his full 6-year career, his 8,000 plus scrimmage yards are slightly lower than Terrell Davis's, but his 79 touchdowns are 14 higher. I'm not saying Gurley will be voted into the Hall of Fame, but I am saying it's a discussion. He helped lead the Rams out of mediocrity, played a vital role in the immediate success of Sean McVay's offense. He did not win a Super Bowl, but very few careers are truly perfect. Todd Gurley's career was a definitive success, and I'll be hoping he sneaks into the Hall of Fame. Even if he doesn't, he'll remain one of my favorite NFL running backs of all time.
Cam Akers he's a big-time running back. He's a difference maker for their football team.
Cam Akers broke Rams fans' hearts. He appeared to be destined to be the next great Rams running back, but that dream quickly vanished. Arguments, trade requests, and an unlikely all-pro replacement define Akers' time in Los Angeles. Today we're diving into how Cam Akers blew it in LA. In 2020, the LA Rams were looking for a long-term replacement of Todd Gurley, and they invested a second-round pick in Cam Akers, a young running back with immense talent. After starting his rookie season slow, he would come on strong to close the season, including an epic game against the Patriots, where he ran for 171 yards and won NFC Offensive Player of the Week. His playoff performances against the Seahawks and Packers had LA fans abuzz about their rookie. After all, this is a team with a storied tradition of great running backs. Heading into 2021, it felt like a lock that Cam would become a star. But rarely do things work out the way we plan. Akers would suffer an Achilles tear working out just before training camp.
It's a huge blow for LA. They're losing their leading rusher a week before camp begins.
This injury typically takes 12 months, but after being one of the first players to receive a speed bridge surgery, he would return after only 5 months, just in time for another playoff run. Sony Michel and Darrell Henderson had filled in admirably, but the Rams needed their young playmaker. He would rush for 172 yards over 4 games, but his biggest contribution would be the motivational spark needed for an offense that would go on to win a Super Bowl. Okay, so his 2021 hadn't gone according to plan, but it was inspiring to see a player return from an injury and make an impact like this. But everything was not as it seemed for this young running back and his team. Akers would head into his 3rd season being seen as the clear starter, but this quickly faded after opening the season with 3 rushing attempts for 0 yards. After an unimpressive stretch of 5 games to start the season, he would be inactive for 2 games while trade rumors grew.
are following breaking news out of the NFL where Cam Akers has been ruled out for Sunday's game against the Panthers.
Akers has denied requesting a trade, but head coach Sean McVay acknowledged a trade was, quote, the best option for all parties. A trade did not materialize though, and LA would opt to keep the talented young player, even during what was an abysmal campaign. For the season, he would rush for 786 yards, 7 touchdowns, and at 113 receiving yards. All fences seemed to be mended by the end of the year, or were they?
I don't know.
2023 would see an underwhelming start by Akers against the Seahawks, while his backup, Kyren Williams, played very well. By week 2, Akers was deactivated for unspecified reasons, and he would be traded to the Minnesota Vikings.
All right, we got some breaking news here from the NFL where Cam Akers has been traded to the Vikings.
What was once a promising player for the Rams had turned out to become a tense standoff between coach and player. Kyren Williams would go on to become an All-Pro. Akers would see limited time for the Vikings before suffering a second Achilles injury, and he would miss the remainder of the season. Cam Akers' story is a demonstration of how brutal the NFL can be. Talented players with incredible opportunities can quickly become victims of injuries. Compound this with business aspects of the sport, and you quickly find a volatile recipe for both immense success and disaster. Seasons are long, but careers can be very short. Hopefully Cam Akers can find a way to show his full capabilities on a football field, but with each passing season, it becomes more unlikely. I'll be rooting for him. Imagine if you were overlooked, doubted, and facing injury setbacks as an NFL running back. This is a position known for its volatility, where players can be replaced in a heartbeat. For many, this is too much to handle. But for Kyren Williams, it's a reality he conquered.
The end goal is not going to happen tomorrow, or it might not happen the next day, but eventually if you continue to keep working each and every single day, that's going to get to where you need to be.
From being a 5th-round pick out of Notre Dame, to battling injuries in his rookie season, to eventually capturing the Rams' starting running back job and becoming an all-pro talent. His journey is remarkable, but how did he rise to claim the starting job and become a star in the NFL? That's the story we're telling today.
I'm always going for the number 1 spot. I don't like to be anything that's not number 1. If you're not first, you're last.
Let's dive into Kyren Williams' journey from underdog to budding NFL star. Kyren Williams' football journey begins in St. Louis, Missouri. He attended St. John Vianney High School, where he showcased his talents as a versatile and dynamic running back. Despite his impressive high school career, Williams was considered undersized by some college scouts, and this led to a 3-star ranking. Kyren committed to Notre Dame, where he quickly proved himself after a redshirt freshman season as a reliable and explosive player. Over his college career, he would accumulate over 2,000 rushing yards and 27 touchdowns, earning recognition as one of the top running backs in college football.
Into the secondary, Williams down the sideline, Kyren Williams might go, Notre Dame, touchdown!
Despite his college success, Williams fell to the 5th round of the 2022 NFL Draft, where he was selected 164th overall by the Los Angeles Rams.
Kyren.
How you doing, Coach?
Hey, congratulations, man. So happy for you.
Appreciate you, Coach. I swear to goodness, I'm going to come in there, and I'm going to do everything, and I promise y'all going to get everything from me.
His size and concerns about his durability contributed to his slide in the NFL Draft.
Yeah, I like this guy, Kyren Williams, because he doesn't have the height, the weight, the speed. He's 5'9 and a quarter. He's 194 pounds, and he ran a poor time in the 40. But he's quick. He's shifty. He has really good vision as a runner, and he runs with suddenness and urgency. With this smaller back, his ability to pick and slide, change direction. He's not necessarily an ankle breaker, you wouldn't say, but he's certainly shifty enough to create some yards on his own. I think you're getting a really good value. We know what he is. He's a backup, rotational player. He's going to help on special teams as well.
Williams' rookie season would be marred by injuries. This would limit his playing time and opportunities to showcase his abilities. Despite the setbacks, he remained focused and dedicated to his recovery and improvement. Moving into the 2023 season, Williams emerged healthy and determined to prove his worth. He had an opportunity to compete for the starting job against Cam Akers, and he planned on seizing the moment. While Cam Akers feuded with head coach Sean McVay, Kyren remained dedicated to proving his worth on the field. In the season opener, Akers would receive 22 carries, rush for 29 yards, and add a touchdown. Kyren, on the other hand, would see 15 carries, gain 52 yards, and score 2 touchdowns. Rumors had been swirling for well over a year now that Akers and head coach Sean McVay had a troubled relationship, and week 2 did little to help with the situation. Cam Akers was deactivated for unspecified reasons, traded afterwards, and Williams would solidify his spot as the lead rusher, after he would go on to have 100 scrimmage yards against a tough 49er defense and become the first player in franchise history to have multiple touchdowns in each of the first 2 games of a season. Williams' hard work had paid off, as he took over the starting role. His performances on the field quickly established him as one of the NFL's leading rushers, drawing attention for his ability to break tackles and make big plays. Kyren would get his first 100-yard rushing game in his 4th start and land his 2nd in his 6th. But a sprained ankle would cause him to miss 4 games and restart questions around his durability. During his absence, the Rams would go 1-3 and appeared to be fading. Williams would return to face the Arizona Cardinals with a sizzling performance. Having over 200 scrimmage yards and 2 touchdowns, the team would thump their NFC West rivals. He would earn NFC Offensive Player of the Week and set the tone for the team's stretch run. LA would win 5 of 7 games, clinching a playoff berth, and their new star running back was a major contributor. He would top 100 scrimmage yards in each game he played and add 8 touchdowns. For the season, Williams had 1,144 rushing yards, 206 receiving yards, and 15 total touchdowns. He would add another 70 yards in the team's close playoff loss to the Detroit Lions, capping an incredible season for Williams. His journey from a 5th-round pick to a starting running back is a testament to his resilience and determination. Williams' success is not just a result of his physical talent, but it's also a result of his mental toughness and work ethic. Kyren Williams' journey is a powerful reminder that where you start doesn't determine where you'll finish, and when hard work meets opportunity, stars can be created. His rise from a late-round pick battling injuries to one of the NFL's top rushers is an inspiring story of perseverance and hard work. Williams' story is just beginning, and his potential for career success is immense. As he continues to grow and develop, there's no doubt that Kyren Williams is a name Rams fans hope to be talking about for years to come. This has been The Unlikely Success.